thanks for joining us for the midday news. New Porgera Limited looks set to be a significant contributor to the national treasury, with a 32% corporate tax rate in position and facing an increase in royalty from 2% to 3%. Prime Minister James Marape announced the next steps following the opening scheduled for the 22nd of this month. The mine is expected to complete this recommissioning process in the coming weeks, with the mining and processing operations scheduled to start in the first quarter of 2024 and the first gold pour thereafter. PM Marape also noted that the return of the mine to full production will depend on the Hides power station and transmission lines being brought back into operation following recent acts of vandalism, and that there being no further damage to the mine and essential infrastructure that supports the project. The Community Development Agreement negotiations will be conducted starting in the first quarter of 2024, led by the Mineral Resources Authority on behalf of the state. In a bid to foster entrepreneurship among women, Nawaib MP Theo Pelgen delivered SME startup kits to mothers in the Decca Circuit of the Lutheran Church on Tuesday. The kits, featuring sewing machines and materials, aim to empower women at the grassroots level. Pelgen encouraged mothers to utilize the kits for creating and selling products. The initiative, piloted with Lutheran Church Association, covers significant areas in the district. NDDA Women's Representative Rebecca Michael assures ongoing support, hinting a future partnership with various churches. Distribution in Laulu Circuit is set to begin expanding the initiative's reach.
You come to me and I help you when a trainer come down. But you talking you say Rebecca, Mr. Place no Mary Bano money. O same na, me talking you example me talk same. He says about child. String na. Hook and so. You straight him this logo market blow you straight him finish, you kiss him money blow, all the something finish. You ring na talk market blow me finish, so by me talking you not like in
Temnung community of Bogia district in Midday province hosted a colorful reception for the delegates who walked for miles, climbing several steep hills to reach the village. Even after almost 50 years since PNG gained independence, there are certain remote and far-flung communities that are still deprived of basic and vital government services. Temnung village in Ward 19 of the Giri area of Yawa LLG in Bogia district in Morbe province is no exception. There is no road link to the far-distance community. People walk for over 10 kilometers to reach an access road to travel to Bogia station. They then progress on to Midday town via PMVs. The Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary is rebranding its operations to make policing services more community-oriented. This new approach is to ensure police officials are disciplined when providing police services to the community. Acting Commissioner for Police Policy and Planning, Dr. Philip Mitna, revealed this during the NCD Year Parade for the Sector Patrol Unit yesterday. Mitna said as part of the new approach, disciplinary action will be enforced in the police force to ensure that the perception of the community towards the police force is changed. Mitna urged the police officers to ensure that they do what is right and not to do things outside of law.
Do what is consistent with law. At the end of the day, it's not us who will be defending you in a court of law. It's you alone. So basically do what is right, what is consistent with law. Refrain from the ill discipline, refrain from what cannot be defended by law.
In regional news, after COP28's central document was approved on Wednesday, Samoa's lead delegate delivered a critical assessment of the agreement's flaws and pointed out the Pacific Islands delegates were not even in the room when the deal was done. The final agreement from the summit calls for transitioning away from fossil fuels and energy systems in a just, orderly and equitable manner. Samoa's lead delegate, Anne Rasmussen, representing the Alliance of Small Island States, spoke up moments later that they had no final say on the agreement. "We did not want to interrupt, but we are a little confused about what just happened," said Rasmussen. Turning overseas, destructive winds, flashing flood, and a half-meter deluge caused evacuations overnight as tropical cyclone Jasper slammed into Queensland's tropical coast. Roads became waterways as residents' homes were swamped in the relentless rain. Now a tropical low, Jasper is carving a path inland, with residents in the far north being warned the danger is far from over.
A haunting sound, heralding the arrival of an unwelcome guest. Wild winds brought trees down. Its impact felt hundreds of kilometres along the coastline. Rivers raged as more than half a metre of rain fell in the Daintree. Residents were rescued as the Mossman River rose rapidly after midnight. With water inundating homes, pets and loved ones were moved to safety by specialist rescue teams.
12 people and a dog, I understand, and they are all safe.
Hans and his dog Booker spent the night at the local library.
Had about 10 minutes to get out and find somewhere else.
Others chose to stay.
The rain was deafening at times. It was really, really heavy.
It was a good blow. I've been here 27 years, I reckon it was up there, yeah.
Big tree come down and bang, hit the roof.
While the eye of the storm has passed, the threat of dangerous flash flooding remains.
Overnight, the cyclone did cross the coast. That does not mean that this incident is over. We are going to have a considerable amount of rain.
South of Cairns, some banana farms are counting the cost of the destruction.
It's around between 30 to 35% of our farm.
18,000 fruited trees on this Innisfail property were damaged to the tune of more than $300,000. With the ex-tropical cyclone weakened and moving west, the focus has shifted to the cleanup. The rain didn't let up today and likely won't ease tonight as the tail of the weather system moves through. In the past 24 hours, parts of the Daintree catchment recorded rain totals of more than half a metre. With figures like that, the focus is now on the flood threat. Far North Queensland dreaming of a dry Christmas.
The state government has set itself up for more wage fights, with unions after awarding a record 25% pay rise to paramedics. Nurses and firefighters say they'll also push for more money, while the government warns of a bigger than expected budget deficit.
This Melbourne wholesaler did pretty good business online.
We supply probably 98% of Australia, of all the binder screws.
But when the company received a bill from the Commonwealth Bank for thousands of declined transactions on its e-commerce store, John Perpetrio knew something was wrong.
Ended up being something like nearly 17,000 transactions, which we wouldn't do in 5 years' worth of business.
The transactions meant the small business was slugged with banking fees.
Transaction fees and chargeback fees close to 7,000.
And then the call started from strangers who'd been fraudulently billed and saw the business listed on their transactions.
I did not use the card at all, not once. It never left my wallet.
It's called a bin attack, where fraudsters take the first 6 digits of a credit card, the bank identification number, then use trial and error to guess working combinations of card numbers, expiration dates and card security codes. Once they've found the right combination, the cards are tested to see if they're active through small transactions on online stores, before the card numbers are either sold or used for larger fraudulent transactions.
16 digits might sound like a lot, but once you take off the bank identification number, you're left with 10. And then those 10 have to adhere to a pattern, so you're left with a smaller number of different possibilities. And then you have machines that can automate at a very, very fast speed. 10 numbers really isn't very much for computers to keep guessing.
One Commonwealth Bank customer told the ABC he ultimately lost more than $7,000 as part of the same attack. The card holders and John's business have since been reimbursed by the bank.
The banks are very much the victims of these crimes as well.
Last year, card protection fraud in Australia totalled $577 million. Merchants are recommended to use card payment processors with strong fraud protection, while cardholders have been warned to keep an eye out for small, suspicious transactions.
When we try to make it easy for consumers to just enter cards and have products purchased and delivered, it also makes it easy for hackers to do the same thing.
That's of little comfort for some.
It's left me much, much more circumspect about the security of the banking system.
In sports, the Papua New Guinea National Rugby League competition has released the 2024 Digicel ExxonMobil Cup draws. The 12-team competition will kick off on the 13th to the 14th of April 2024. The season will witness the return of Wagi Tumbe after a one-year absence. There will be 108 matches in the 18 regular rounds, with the top 6 clubs featuring in the final series, commencing on the 25th of August and the grand final set on the 15th of September at the Santos National Football Stadium in Port Moresby. Excitingly, fans will not need to wait long to see the grand final replay between Premiers EPG Enga Miox and the runner-up Bintango Goroka Lahanis, scheduled in a round 4 clash in Goroka. PNG RFL CEO and PNG NRLC board member Stanley Hondina says aligning to the improved game management pillar in the NRLC strategic plan, an initiative was to release the season draw before Christmas, and it is with great relief this demonstrates the importance for the club, sponsors, broadcasters as they prepare for season 2024. Hondina says they are excited to showcase the skills of best domestic players across the country. In this year's private companies netball competition, a groundbreaking change has taken place with the introduction of a men's competition, a move aimed at encouraging men to embrace the sport that is gaining popularity nationwide. Well, men's netball, known for its fast and agile gameplay, is steadily making its mark in the country, and the inaugural men's competition has kicked off with 4 teams currently battling it out in the thrilling third round. The enthusiasm surrounding this new dimension of the competition suggests a growing interest, with hopes of witnessing even more teams in future seasons. This initiative is not just about the game, it's about inclusivity, extending the reach to employees in the corporate sector, including men. Breaking away from the tradition that deemed netball a women's sport, this move aligns it more closely with sports like basketball, showcasing that netball is a game for everyone regardless of gender. And that ends Midday News. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.